Welcome to another edition of Teach the Geek interviews. My name is Neil Thompson. I'm the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Today, my guest is engineer and STEM advocate Darnell Dixon, and he works with local schools and organizations to inspire the next generation of engineers and scientists. I'm really keen to learn more about his journey in engineering, his advocacy efforts, and the ways in which speaking has impacted him. Welcome to Teach the Geek interviews, Darnell.
Thank you for having me.
From the bit of research I did on you, I saw that you got a degree in electrical engineering. What was the motivation to do that?
Um, as a child, I always wondered how my toys worked. I would tear them apart, try to put them back together. Never really worked. I grew up around drag racing, and I'm a car enthusiast, so it kind of just like happened just off of my interest of breaking toys and trying to fix them, and you want to know how engines work, suspensions worked, and how pushing buttons in a car, all that stuff just made stuff work.
Nice. I saw you didn't stop there. You got a master's in engineering management. So what prompted you to do that?
Um, so in my current role as an engineer at Northrop Grumman, I ended up becoming a manager. So I just felt it was beneficial to get a master's in engineering management since I'm an engineer managing engineers.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So I'm curious. Once you got at least your first degree in electrical engineering and you started working in the industry, what types of jobs have you done in industry?
So I have worked in research and development with Caterpillar, and I have worked for the railroad, Norfolk Southern, but majority of my career has been in the space industry with Northrop Grumman, building satellites for communication, defense, stuff like that.
Nice. The work that you do, is this work that you had always planned on doing, or is it kind of
Uh,
has it happened?
It literally just my career in the space industry just fell into my lap. I did not think that I would be working with, NASA and um, other space companies. It just I got into this by a friend who fell into a job and recommended me, and then I got hired, and literally the rest is history.
Got it. I mean, you mentioned also that you manage people, and that's why the reason, or at least one of the reasons you got your degree in engineering management is being a manager something that you always aspired to?
Not at all. I never wanted to manage people. That kind of just like happened too. My manager retired, and we didn't have a manager for a while. And being that I became like the lead of my group, my director thought that it would be a good idea. I fought it, but it kind of worked out. I'm a people person. I love helping people, and I became a manager, and it just worked out in my favor. I mean, I was a manager for 4 years. It's a lot of work. I'm no longer a manager, but I'm still like the point of contact for a lot of stuff. So that's pretty much how it just worked out. Other people see things in you that you don't really see, and you just trust that it works, and you just take a chance on yourself, and it just happened to work out for my favor, in my favor.
I'm really curious, Darnell, because this is being a manager is not something you look to do, and you were already. It sounds like part of the group that you ended up managing. How did the people that you were managing react to the fact that you're not their colleague anymore, that you're their manager now?
It wasn't a bad transition because I never treated my team as though I was like their superior. I would always tell them we're coworkers. We're here for the same purpose. We work in the same group. Nothing really changes except for the fact that I have more responsibilities than you guys. Um, and that approach, I think, eased me going from uh, coworker to manager. I really didn't treat them any different. I just treated them as people, helped them when they needed help. If they were on the floor, I was on the floor. If they work weekends, I was working weekends. I answered my phone when they called. I was always available. And I made sure if I wasn't going to be around, they had the support they needed. I created trainings that were like thorough. I would never left anyone just like hanging like, hey, learn this. It was something I didn't know. I would sit and learn with them. So I just made it comfortable for them to not look at me as a man. Well, I was their person to go to for, issues, but I also didn't treat them like they were less than, or not less than, but like I'm your boss, you do what I say. Is no, we're equals.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. What's one thing that you didn't anticipate about being a manager that you found out once you were a manager?
How stressful it is. Uh Managing multiple, well, different personalities, figuring out who works well together, who don't work well together. Um, and then just like office drama is always a thing. I never really knew, I guess, how bad drama could be between people. Because I was always, before I became a manager, it was just like, I don't need to know what's going on the floor outside of my work. But when you're a manager, you have to be a manager, you have to be a therapist, uh, you have to be multiple things at one time, and no one really prepares you or tell you that until you're in it, and you have to figure it out on the fly. So
I'm curious then, how did your degree in, or the work that you did getting your degree in engineering management, how did that prepare you for managing?
they teach you, about conflict resolution. They teach you about, how to handle, dealing with multiple personalities in a group. That you can't really. It teaches you, how to use your words better, not getting in your feelings about stuff and not taking things personal, but also how to, you know, what to do in certain situations, utilizing your resources like how to deal with HR, how to deal with your management, um, how to, bridge those gaps or those barriers between coworkers and stuff. I feel like it gives you like basic, I guess, tools. And then, you kind of have to also utilize your job resources. Like there are trainings that my job provided as well to kind of help with uh, dealing with people. I mean, there's words that I would kind of use that would, I guess, I'm not gonna say offend people, but may rub people the wrong way. So you would learn to not use words like but or be firm but not soft. It just helps you find like middle grounds to deal with certain situations and different people.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I think you mentioned that you're not a manager anymore. Is there a reason for that?
No, I ended up leaving that group and I moved to design engineering. Because I've been in the manufacturing group for like 15 years. No, I'm sorry, 13 years. So I just needed I wanted to change, and plus, um, having kids, I was at work a lot, and I needed something a little more flexible to be at home with my kids.
Okay, I see what you're saying. How was the transition going from being a manager of people back to being an individual contributor?
Uh, it was boring because I was so used to always being busy and finding what to do with myself, I guess. Uh, when I went to design engineering, it was kind of like they would always tell me, "Oh, I work too fast," or they would give me a task and I would knock it out real quick, and I was like, "I need something else to do." I didn't like sitting in an office all day, um, but it was a good experience. I implemented some new techniques for the group, but I ended up leaving that group and I went to another group. I'm now mission assurance, so I'm back on the floor with my team more often. And I support in a different role where like I'm kind of overseeing more. I still get my hands-on experience. I still get my flexible schedule. So it's a nice balance.
Would you ever consider being a manager of people again? And if so, what conditions would need to be for you to do that?
Um, would I would. Um, and I mean, I guess the conditions really wouldn't change. It would just be the department that I work in. I wouldn't want to be in uh, a role or department where I don't have flexibility to be at home or have a hybrid schedule. Like right now, I'm kind of hybrid. So I get to be home for a certain amount of time and then come into the office. So that's my only, I would do it as long as it's a flexible schedule.
Got it. I mentioned in the intro that you're also a STEM advocate. I'm curious, what does your STEM advocacy work entail?
I do a lot of volunteering. I do a lot of STEM. I go to high schools, elementary schools, colleges. I talk to students about the space industry. Um, when my job goes to certain conferences like NSB conferences or the Bay Conference, or we host HBCU career fair, I'm always there to, talk to students, give them advice on um, what it is being an engineer, what is going to college at, HBCU or graduating. I have used my platform to help um, give or interview kids at these big career fairs like Lesbian, and Bea to provide opportunities for them. Um, we do, STEM workshops. I volunteer for those, working with elementary, middle, high school kids. Uh, I've been doing that for pretty much my whole career. I monitor, I mentor interns, I mentor new hires. So that's pretty much all my STEM, all of that is all STEM related with whether it's talking about space, talking about STEM, helping kids with homework, stuff like that.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff you do. I'm curious, what's your motivation for doing your advocacy work?
I feel like came out of when I graduated from Virginia State, um, I didn't have I didn't have someone to kind of like mentor me or coach me or give me advice as to how to navigate going from college into uh the career, going into a career. I didn't have someone to mentor me when I first started. Um, so I just felt like I want to give to students what I wish I had.
What do
If
you
that
what
makes
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm curious to follow up on that. What's one thing that you wish you would have known starting your career that you had to learn the hard way?
um for one, when I was in college, I kind of wish I would have known more about like scholarships. I wish I would have known. While I interned, I interned with the USDA, but I wish someone would have pushed me to intern earlier and um at an engineering firm. And I wish someone would have told me to try to go to bigger conferences because these conferences like NSB and Baya, they give interns on the spot. And if you do a good job, they usually offer you a full-time job. I kind of wish I would have had someone to kind of help me, navigate how to deal with people in the workforce because people are mean, especially to like a young, like I was like 22, testing $1 million hardware and having to deal with people talking to me crazy, uh, trying to get me out of my character. And some of the stuff actually worked. Like people would say mean stuff to me and make me mad, and then I'm like going off you know, and I wish I would have someone kind of tell me like, don't let that get to you. I mean, well, I had my mom, or my dad like tell me like, don't let stuff get to you, but I'm 2+ hours away from them, having like someone at work to kind of like a mentor at work to kind of coach me how to navigate the stuff or ways to um advance my career. I kind of like just had to just figure it out. and do it on my own, you know. But I mean, I ended up getting mentors as an adult. Like when I became 30 something, that's when I started like getting a mentor and you going to like work conferences and doing all these trainings to help build your character, your career. No one really tells you to do this stuff, as a young person.
What do you think a useful mentor-mentee relationship looks like?
Um, so for for me, what I do with mine, um, we go to lunch a lot. We hang out outside of work, Um, at work, I talk about stuff that whatever question they may have, like, how do I do this? How do I do that? I show them around, introduce them to people, help them network, like take them into, like joining ERGs. We have employee resource groups, helping them join them, taking them to any of the ERG events, introducing them to people who they may know, just providing trainings that you should take. I mean, I bring them around my family. We hang out. I go around their family. Stuff like I feel like it's like a big brother, little sister type relationship, but on a professional level.
How do you think someone should go about finding a mentor?
Oh, just ask. That's what I did. Once I found out, once I had my first mentor, he kind of like told me like, oh, go at just ask people. Or when I started like uh meeting or not, I guess getting coming out of my shell and meeting people at work, they would just tell me, yeah, just ask people. Or when you go to a conference, the people who are mentors, they always tell people that if you want a mentor, just ask someone to do it. So that's what I decided doing. I was, hey, can you mentor me to help me better my career? Or, I tell them what my goals are. And I have multiple, I have like three or four mentors, and each one just provides different things that I may need at that moment. So I just ask people.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you can't get what you don't ask for, that's for sure.
Exactly. I always say a closed mouth don't get fed. So ask for what you want.
Yep, 100%, Darnell. I'm curious when it comes to the mentor-mentee relationship. Obviously, we know what well, we don't know, but it's more clearer as to what a mentee gets from a mentor. But what do you think is reasonable for a mentor to get from a mentee?
Um, Fresh pair of eyes. I always feel like no matter the age, you know, you could be like I've been doing my job for it'll be 16 years in January, and you kind of get into like a routine of like doing certain things, and whether they're in my group or not, a fresh person, a fresh pair of eyes who have never seen the way things are done at your company, they can come in and you can always, as much as you give to them, they give back with new perceptions or new ways of doing things, or just a new person to kind of like talk to and um, just form a bond with.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I really like your point about that fresh pair of eyes because I suspect that the mentee is going to have questions and they may very well
Of
ask you
course,
they're going to ask you they may very well ask you a question and you may think to yourself, I don't know why it's done that way. So,
exactly. Or they may even ask something that I don't even know the answer to, and then it's like I'm learning something new as I'm teaching you.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it definitely could be beneficial. When it comes to mentor-mentee relationships, I just think the best relationships tend to be more two-way as opposed to just one person gets something and the other person is just waiting to get something. And
Of
I just,
course,
yeah. With my YouTube channel and the podcast, Darnell, it started out and it still is about the public speaking journeys of those with technical backgrounds. I had to give presentations in front of management when I worked as an engineer, and I wasn't very good at it. And I noticed a lot of the other engineers weren't all that good at it either. But I'm curious if, in your case, was speaking in front of people always something you've been good at? And if not, what did you do to get better at it?
um, yeah, so I actually took a public speaking class in college, um, which kind of forced me to, I guess, early break into that, talking in front of people. It really wasn't until I became a manager to where I had to present more. Um, And, it was kind of just, you do it enough, you start with like a small group. Well, yeah, you just start with a small group and then you just get bigger and bigger. The most difficult time I had to do it, I had to present. Um, so everyone knows about the Artemis mission, about NASA trying to go back to the moon. So I had to do a presentation for Northrop on the Artemis mission, and it was virtual because it was during COVID. But what I did not know was how many people was going to be on the call. It was on YouTube, and it was when they shared the screen, I just kept seeing the numbers climb, and it was like over like 10,000 people on this call. I was so nervous, but I had my team. It's just like having that support of people telling you, you got this. Like you're a people person. Everyone likes you. Just people who boost you up and have you, your best interest at heart. And after I did that, I was like, I could really talk and not seem nervous. And it's just, you just I guess just get over your fears. And at the end of the day, it's like it wasn't that bad. And then it kind of just became like a second nature thing where I'm now presenting to customers, I'm presenting to our upper leadership, whether it's a report or just talking, you just take a deep breath, talk slow, talk calm, zone out, and you just let the words flow. But I
Wonderful.
do recommend, like, I've taken a class and practicing, even if you're talking to like kids in an elementary school. And one thing I was always told is, I'm also a tour guide for my company. Um, because I was nervous when I had to present to like the governor one time, and the biggest thing that I was told was, you know your job, they don't. So no matter what you tell them, whether it's true or not, they don't know. And if it is something that you don't know, just say, I don't know. That's a good question. I'll find out and get back to you. And don't like beat yourself up. So that's what I do for everything now. When I'm presenting to anybody, if they ask me a question I don't know, that's a good question. I don't know. I'll find out and get back to you. And then if you're presenting to like an audience, I was always told just look over this while you're looking out, just look over top of everyone. And they don't even know you're not even looking at them.
That's
So it's
excellent.
like little tips that like makes things so much easier.
I give presentations and I am someone who gets distracted looking at people's eyes. I was a member of Toastmasters for a number of years, and in Toastmasters, they'll tell you that when you're giving a presentation, look people in the eye for 3 seconds before moving on to the next person. You have no clue how long 3 seconds is until you look someone in the eyes for 3 seconds. And
I know.
it it's so distracting to me. I'll forget what I'm going to say. So I really like your advice about looking over their heads because especially if you're on an elevated stage, they can't tell the difference. They think you're at
Yes,
them.
yes. And even if you're on Zoom, you're on a elevated stage, you just look out, and while you think they're looking at you, they're looking right on top of your head, and they have no idea.
Yeah, they
So
think,
I
oh,
mean that's what I do. Now it is difficult when you're in a one-on-one or if you're in a smaller you're in a conference room and then you have to look at people in the eyes. That's something I'm still working on myself. Because like you said, looking someone in the eyes for 3 seconds is a long time, and then you don't want to be like awkward. So that's something I'm still working on myself.
yeah, same here. I mean, practice makes progress, man. None of us are finished products.
Right, right.
We're all trying
True,
to get better.
true.
And I really like your advice also about saying I don't know. Last year I wrote a article and it was about why technical people may shy away from giving presentations. And one of the reasons I gave is being in a position where you may not know the answer to a question and being asked. If you don't have to give that presentation, well, then you're not going to get the question that you potentially don't know the answer to. So that might be a reason why people shy away from it. And I think as technical people, we pride ourselves on knowing, and we
Hmm.
think that people expect us to know because hey, you got this engineering degree, you're probably pretty smart.
Right.
You got this technical role, you're probably pretty smart. You're that subject matter expert. You know the answer to everything. But no one knows the answer to everything, and I think a lot of us, we just need to become more comfortable saying, I don't know, but I'll find out.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah,
like you
and
said.
not taking things personal too is a really big one. I know I have seen people who, get offended when someone asks a question or challenges something they say or questions something they say. And I've learned they're just asking a question. Whether, you know, don't take it personal. It's just work. Figure it out, give the answer, update your presentation, keep it moving. It's that simple.
It's funny you mentioned that, Darnell, because earlier this summer, actually, I was at a conference, a technical conference, and you saw that the majority of the people who were giving presentations were academics, either grad students or postdocs or some professors as well. And in those environments, the questions they often get can seem contentious to somebody from the outside because a lot of times the questions they're asking have to do with what they didn't do in their research and perhaps factors that they didn't think about. And in many instances, the people who are giving the presentations, they have to say, well, yeah, that's definitely something to look into. We didn't for this, but maybe for the next presentation, that's something to look into. But I just get
Hmm.
the sense that if you're not used to that and you're getting a question, it's just like you said, you might get defensive. Like, what do you mean? Like, where'd that question come from?
Yeah,
And then you get all defensive, and it becomes way more contentious than it has to be. And I think you're right when it comes to that mindset. Look, they're probably just asking the question because they want whatever you're working on to be as good as it can be. Or maybe they really don't know, and you are
exactly.
you're the expert, so you likely have an answer, and it's not
Yeah.
meant to trip you up or for something for you to get defensive about.
Yeah, if you don't know, like you said, you'll either get an answer or you don't. I mean, end the conversation.
Indeed. So for the people who are watching or listening to our conversation, Darnell, and they see the benefit of getting better at speaking in front of others, what's the first thing you think they should work on?
Just being comfortable with themselves. I mean, that's just the biggest thing, just uh preparing and just being comfortable just talking. If you can talk, I mean, just practice like in front of talking in front of your family. That's, I mean, and not just like a normal conversation. Like, do a PowerPoint presentation about whatever you love and present it to your family and see how easy that is. If it's difficult, keep practicing. That's the biggest thing is being comfortable talking. Um, and I understand like not everyone is an introvert. I mean, not everyone is an extrovert. Some people are introverts. Talking in front of people can be difficult, but just practice, just be comfortable with what you're presenting, know what you're presenting, and just practice.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us technical people, we often think that speaking is for somebody else to do. But oftentimes, if you want to move up within an organization, a great way to do that is speaking because it gains you visibility. And you can't be that, or you don't want to be that engineer sitting in their cubicle mad because someone else got an opportunity you thought you deserved, but you didn't say anything, and well, you didn't get the opportunity. That's how the cookie
Yeah,
crumbles.
a lot of folks kind of get like me. I got thrown into the fire where it was like someone left the company, and then I had to take over, and it was like, oh, by the way, you have to present X, Y, and Z, and I was like, I don't even know what this means, but I just pulled up previous presentations, asked, people that I'm cool with, hey, what did you do for this? Take theirs, tailor it to mine, present, and it just gets easier with time. The more and more you do it, it just gets easier and easier. My first time, yeah, I was nervous because I was presenting to like 20 people and to talk about stuff that I may have not been involved with the whole time, but I just kept perfecting it until the day before, presented it in a dry run with my team. And when I did it, everyone was happy. And surprisingly, no one really asked that many questions. Because it's again one of the things where it's like, this is my presentation. They probably don't know much. If they don't know, I have people around me that also know they can help out. It went well. And I've just been getting better and better ever since.
Excellent. This has been a great conversation, Darnell. Thank you so much for being a guest. How can people get
Of
in touch
course,
with
thank
you?
you. LinkedIn. Oh gosh, you asked me my LinkedIn name. I don't even know it. I think it's like Mr. Just look me up, Darnell Dixon. I'm in like a lab suit, uh, blue lab coat. So I mean, I don't. I think it's like Mr. D Dixon. I think. I don't know.
Okay, I'll find the link. No problem. Well,
Yeah,
everyone.
sorry about that.
No problem. Everyone, that marks the end of another edition of Teach the Geek interviews. My name is Neil Thompson. I'm the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And and if you want to learn more about the channel and you want to know more about that, you can go to teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Until next time, take care and stay safe. Thanks, Darnell.
Thank you.